ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم واجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك. وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
كيف حالكم أعزائي today?
الحمد لله.
The number of this hadith is 38. Hadith number 38. Sorry. Okay. Hadith number 38. That's what we read. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال. Again, this is what kind of hadith? قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال. Hadith would see Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم attributing it to Allah. And then you can see there at the bottom. This project is funny, so I have to extend the screen. So if I want to actually be able to look in front of me, I need to open two instances of the thing. So yeah, what we have here is, let's like scroll like that. So basically, you can see there at the bottom the Rawahul Bukhari, and if Bukhari narrates it, then you automatically know that it is authentic. Not because the fact that Bukhari narrated it is authentic, but the fact that the authenticity of those ahadith have been checked and rechecked many times, and such that the Ummah has agreed upon the authenticity of it. Now, okay, I mean, you might at some point have heard of more discussion about that, but there's different ways in which Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala mentions a hadith in his book. So one of the important aspects of Imam Bukhari's book is the chapter headings. Like, you might think that chapter headings are insignificant, but actually in the headings of the chapters, oftentimes the headings of the chapters themselves come from a hadith or are like adapted wordings of a hadith. But in the chapter headings, Imam al-Bukhari gives you his position on a subject. So like when you study Bukhari, studying the chapter headings is actually like one of the main things that get focused on. Then after the chapter heading, he has some narrations that he mentions without. He mentions them as part of the beginning of a chapter. That's not what they say min sulbil kitab. It's not like the actual hadith of Bukhari that if people narrate them, they would say, Bukhari narrates this. And oftentimes those will be narrations. Sometimes they are there's some breakage in the chain, or sometimes they're not at the highest level of authenticity that he stipulated himself for his book, right? So that's why they would say that they are from the tarajim. They form part of the tarajim of Bukhari. However, when we're speaking about the actual ahadith of Bukhari, like the main content of each chapter, then those ahadith, the Ummah has accepted and agreed upon the authenticity of those ahadith. Right? So if anybody ever tries to tell you, no, there are things in Bukhari that's not like that or not authentic, whatever the case may be, you have to check, are they speaking about those things? Or then we don't have a fight. If they're speaking about the chapter headings, no, not necessarily. If they're speaking about the main hadith of the book, no. Then there's likely a problem in what they are saying. So anyways, this hadith is authentic. I just mentioned that because I made an unrestricted statement saying that the hadith of Bukhari are all authentic. In addition to that, Imam Bukhari has different books of hadith. So there's other book called Adab al-Mufrad, etc. But in his Sahih, all of those hadith are Sahih. So عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال من عادى لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب. It's called the hadith of wilayah. Who wants to be a wali of Allah? Huh? Everybody should say yes. If you don't want to be a wali of Allah, then want to go in life. Everybody should want to be a wali of Allah. Maybe everybody won't achieve that maqam, or there are people that achieve the maqam to higher levels, because what is wilayah? You can have different levels of wilayah. Everybody should desire it at least. Right? So this is called hadith al-wilayah. Why? Because this hadith tells you how to become a wali of Allah. Right? Refer into our conception that our false notions that we might have. We're not buried in a kramat. No, that's not a wali. Or you must have a certain exterior look, whatever, for it to be a wali. No, that's not the case. Right? This hadith tells you how. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Man aada li waliyan faqad aadhantuhu bil harb. Now the construction here is a bit funny. Translate with me. Man, whoever, aada. What's the root letters? Which bab? Third bab. Correct. So what's the extra letter? Fa'ala. So the alif is the extra letter. Now what's the root letters? Ain, dal, and I think it's wow. From adu, an enemy. So ada will mean what? To show enmity. Show enmity. It's from the third bab. Excuse me? No, this is not the third bab. You're not thinking about adiyat. Like in the surah. That will refer to. Right? Okay. So man ada. You might ask yourself the question, what's the relationship of the no. Like in the surah, al-adiyat. But that's different, no? You must remember that's an ism over there. Wal-adiyat dabahan, that's an ism. So that's not a verb. This is the third verb. Needs to show in. Man ada. Now, who's the fa'il of ada? ضمير مستتر تقديره هو, going back to the man, because man is ismul mawsul. So whoever shows enmity, and what's coming after that? Man ada li waliyan. Okay, yeah. So the construction here is a bit funny. Who's the maf'ulun bihi? What's the maf'ulun bihi here? And then what's waliyan? Waliyan is the maf'ulun bihi. Whoever shows enmity to a wali, li, to a wali of mine, a wali for me. Excuse me? Waliyi. Yes? You can say that. Man ada waliyi. Whoever shows enmity to my servant. Yes, you can say that. That will be a correct construction in Arabic. Right? But the hadith is differently worded. We can't change it. We can ask, what's the benefit of wording it like this? Man ada li waliyan. Firstly, number one, You might say, well, why doesn't it say man aada waliyan li? Okay, so the first thing is in wali being nakira. Right? So can you see the word nakira is the word wali is nakira. In Arabic, oftentimes a word is made nakira for ta'zim. You make a word nakira for ta'zim. I don't know how that might translate in Arabic, sorry, into English, but that is a principle that applies in English. Sometimes you make a word nakira, and the reason it's made nakira is to show ta'zim to that, to attach grandeur to it. Right? So instead of saying waliyi, there to be definite, right? Here it's now waliyan li. You can say that it's for majesty. So whoever attacks or shows enmity to a wali li of me, that belongs to me, or that's my wali. Now you may ask the question, why is the li brought forward? Man aada li waliyan. It's not just emphasis, but also ikhtisas. This is Allah specifying, this is my wali. It is in degree of emphasis, but it's specifying that this wali is for me. So by bringing that forward, that does that ikhtisas. How would you translate it? You could translate it as a friend of mine. I don't think you can translate. I don't know. You can maybe tell me if you have any idea in your mind, but I don't think you can translate it appropriately with this order into English, whilst maintaining the meaning. Because then you might say, whoever shows enmity to me, a friend. I don't think it's going to mean the same thing. It's not showing enmity to Allah. Yes, it's yeah, to my friend. Yeah, that's not bad. To my friend. Yeah, it's just that we don't have the lamb translated there, right? A friend of mine sounds a bit too matter of fact. But anyways, you get the picture. The nakira is for ta'zim, because being a friend of Allah is a great thing, and the li makes ikhtisas. This is my friend. This is Allah showing possessiveness over that friend, and you show possessiveness of something that is beloved to you, valuable to you, right? Ikhtisas, to specify. This is my friend. Man aada li waliyan. Okay, hold your thought. We read the hadith first and then you see if you need the answer. Alright? Hold your thought and then we'll read the hadith. من عاد لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب. It says فقد, and certainly آذنته. Which bab is this? Fourth bab. The root is Hamza, Dal, Noon, Adhina. On the fourth bab, Adhana. You go down the scale, you get to Adhan, 2. And you know maybe a meaning from this. You know, Adhan, which is usually from the second bab to call out the call to prayer. So, فَقَدْ آذَنْتُهُ. Here to mean to declare, to announce, to declare. فَقَدْ آذَنْتُهُ. Then certainly, آذَنْتُ, I have declared to him, آذَنْتُهُ بِالْحَرْبِ. I have made a declaration to him, بِالْحَرْبِ, of war. آذَنَ بِهِ. Right, used with the verb. آذَنْتُهُ بِالْحَرْبِ. I have declared to him, I have made a declaration to him of war. So the first thing you need to do to be a wali of Allah is don't show enmity to a wali of Allah. Because otherwise you're going to be at war with Allah. And there's two people that Allah declares war against. One in the Quran, one in this hadith. One in the hadith is whoever shows enmity to a wali of Allah, Allah declares war against them. That's one. The second thing is the one who consumes riba. One who engages in riba. That's mentioned in the Quran. فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. That's what even done it. Allah says, then be warned of, or declare to them a war with Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The other hadith says, whoever shows enmity to a friend of mine, I have certainly declared war against him. So we said the first step then in the hadith, that what the hadith is telling you, what's the hadith telling you by that? Don't declare or don't show enmity to a wali of Allah. But instead of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, look, don't show enmity to a friend of mine, Allah tells you, whoever does this to my friend, then let him know I have declared war against him. So obviously you can see which one is more emphatic. Now, who's the wali? If I said you don't show enmity to the wali of Allah, how are you going to make sure that you do that? How are you going to make sure you don't show enmity to a wali of Allah? Don't show enmity towards anyone. Why? Because you don't know who the wali of Allah is. You don't know. Look, if somebody has an ayah, dhahira, there is something evident. This person is an opponent of Islam. This person ridicules the Quran. This person, there are clearly evident things that this person is, opposing the law of Allah or something. Then look, that somewhat rules them out. Unless they have an excuse, but if you ruled out those excuses, that rules them out. And then we'll see why the hadith clarifies it. But as long as you don't have any clear sign telling you this person is not the wali of Allah, then don't show enmity towards him. Be circumspect in that in that matter. And I'll tell you the reason why I say that. Right? And especially in relation to poor people. Because another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, رُبَّ أَشْعَثَ أَغْبَرَ مَدْفُوعٍ بِالْأَبْوَابِ. I'm going to tell you what it means. رُبَّ أَشْعَثَ, many a disheveled head, أَغْبَرَ, dust laden, مَدْفُوعٍ بِالْأَبْوَابِ, that would be turned away from doors. لو أقسم على الله, if he were to take an oath by Allah, لأبره, certainly Allah will fulfill his oath. Right? The ulama have also said this hadith refers to the wilayah of that person. He might not have the appearance of a wali to you, but by Allah, his oath is such that if he says something, Allah will make it come true. Right? It's a hadith of authentic hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we don't judge people on their outward appearances, etc., as to their wilayah. That is in the hands of Allah. So what do we do? As long as there is no clear evidence that somebody is opposing the deen or doing something that is like evidently wrong, we do not show enmity towards them. We do not show enmity towards them. And look at what is showing enmity towards them. Showing enmity towards them doesn't just mean attacking them, whatever. It can mean treating them with scorn, looking down upon them. Those are all forms of adawa. And there's levels to it, but we try to abstain even from the lowest degree. What does it cost you to, even if you're not going to give the person something, whatever, just talk nicely? Right? Of ma. It's nafiyah, not. Why? When, in terms of verbs, how do you identify the ma as nafiyah, negating? Usually, we use the ma to negate a past tense verb, right? So this verb that we have here is a past tense verb. Taqarraba, which verb? Fifth verb. So Allah then says, in the Hadith Qudsi, Allah says, وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُهُ عَلَيْهِ. وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ. تَقَرَّبَ means what? To approach, to draw near, come close. From qurb, qaf, to draw near, to approach, to come close to something. So, وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي. What is the fa'il of taqarraba? Who's drawing closer? Abdi, right? So abdi is in halatul raf. Why does it have a kasra? Because of the ya, right? Ya nisba. My slave. So, and my slave does not draw closer or draw close ilayya, to me, bishay'in, with a thing, ahabba ilayya. Ahabba means what? But on this form, ahabba. This here is not a verb. This is a noun on the ismut tafdeel, like akbar. Right? So ahabba. My slave does not draw close to me with something ahabba ilayya, more beloved ilayya. More beloved to me, mimma. That's min plus ma. Now, when you have that ismut tafdeel, that degree of comparison, that form, then what is the min translate as? Then, right? So my slave does not draw close to me with something more beloved to me, min, than, ma, that which, iftaradtuhu. What's the root letters of that verb? Fa, ra, tad, fard. Iftarada means to impose. You have to make compulsory. That which I have imposed or made compulsory, alayhi, upon him. Iftaradtuhu, I have made it compulsory, alayhi, upon him. Did you understand that? There's nothing that you can do that will take you closer to Allah than doing what is fard. If you want to draw, there's nothing that can draw you closer to Allah than by doing what is fard. Every statement has its exceptions. There are certain nafil acts that are more rewarded than the fard counterparts. For example, if you're making salah, you're making dhuhr salah, what's more rewarded, the fard or the sunnah? The fard, of course. No. The fard salah is always more important in salah. But in greeting, it's sunnah to initiate the greeting, as far to respond to the greeting. But the sunnah over there is more rewarding than the fard. Right? But as a general rule, fard has greater reward than sunnah. No? No. What is considered toilet in which you mustn't mention the name of Allah is the place in which you urinate or defecate. Right? And it's appointed by niyyah. No, that's not. Yeah. Right? The demarcated area, and if you're going out, like doing your thing outside, the area that you demarcate for yourself, that area specifically, but not what's beyond. Yeah, so how is that connected to this? For greeting. Yeah. No, you must respond to the greetings. Right? So, point is, you want to become a wali of Allah. First thing, don't show enmity to a wali of Allah. You don't know who the wali of Allah is, so don't show enmity to anyone in general. Unless, like I said, you have a clear proof that they don't. Right? The next thing is, you want to become a wali of Allah? There's no way to get close to Allah. There's nothing that you can do that will take you closer to Allah than doing what He made fard upon you. So you want to be a wali? What must you do? Make sure that you are fulfilling all of the fara'id. What are the fara'id? Anything that has the hukm, according to our crystallized fiqh, anything that has the hukm of fard or haram. Right? Anything that has the hukm of fard or haram. So fard you must do, haram you must stay away from. But both of those linguistically fall under what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has iftaradahu alayna. Just some from a position of, or from like imposition perspective, and others from abstention perspective. So what must, so in terms of haram, you mustn't engage in riba. That's made fard upon you. Like everything that is haram, I can change it into like a form of fard by just adding abstention. Right? So both of those things, you must do whatever is imposed upon you, and you must stay away from whatever is prohibited. That both falls under and I must mention, when you abstain from doing something that's haram, you get rewarded for that. Understand? When you abstain from doing something that is haram, you abstain, you're not doing anything. You get rewarded for that. No, it can be, look. No, you must have, there's an element of it that is active. And there is an element of it that can be passive. What do I mean by that? If I've told myself, look, I'm engaged in trading, I will not do anything haram. Then it doesn't have to be that somebody offers me a ribawi contract and then I say no. Now you may think, oh, but isn't that going to be difficult to quantify the reward? Look, that's not our job. It's Allah's business. But the fact that I told myself already, I'm not engaging in any haram thing, that's active. It might not be that I'm presented with a contract, it might be that I am. So when that haram presents itself to you, that universal decision that you made, it becomes manifest. Right? There's an element of it that's active, there's an element of it that can be passive. Right? However, all that I want to say is it includes haram and it includes wajib. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. You got it? وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ. So what does that mean? لَا يَزَالُ. Zala means to stop or to cease, but generally it's used in the form ma zala or la yazal. Right? It's usually used in the negative. Right? So it means, who's the fa'il here? Abdi again. That's enough. وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي. And my slave continues. I'm translating this negative verb, la yazalu, as continue. I can translate it as negative by saying, my slave does not stop. But now, can you see what I have here? I have a present tense verb and it's followed by another present tense verb. You see that? So how do you think you're going to translate it? As a continuing, indicating the fact that the act is continuing. وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي, my slave does not stop, يَتَقَرَّبُ, coming closer. Coming closer, إِلَيَّ, to me, بِالنَّوَافِلِ, with nawafil. Nawafil means extra things, supererogatory actions, things that's not far. Right? What will have the hukm sunnah. For the Shafi, sunnah, mustahab, mandub, all mean the same thing. Right? And from a negative perspective, from an abstention perspective, what is makruh? Right? So you do what is mustahab and you stay away from what is makruh. وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ. My slave continues to come closer to me with nawafil حتى, until أحبه, until I love him. Now look, here again, when I say حتى أحبه, it doesn't mean when Allah loves him then he stops doing the things. This is what it means. Right? It means that the nihaya of that is, my slave doing this stuff means that it will come to a point in which I love him. Now, again, what's to be clarified is there is a general love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for all of his believers, all of the believers. But this year, you can see by the context, it's referring to a special love. It's referring to a special love. Hatta uhibbahu. It's understood, there's something understood there, that he is given Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala special love. So that's the 3 steps. The rest of the hadith is just a description of what happens when Allah loves you. Right? So what are the 3 steps? Don't show enmity to another wali of Allah. Ensure that you do all of the fara'id and abstain from all the haram. And the 3rd thing is, engage in nafil, do a bit more. Continue to do more. And then eventually Allah will love you. Do you know when that is? That you can say, oh no, Allah loves me now? You might not know. Some people have fatah, they know it somehow. Other people might not. You continue striving. Right? And there's something to be known here. Some of his awliya, Allah makes known to everybody. And some of his awliya, he doesn't make known to anybody. That's the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe Allah knows what's good for them, what their role is, all of those things. Okay? But we should never not desire being one of them. We should never not desire being one of the awliya of Allah. That is like almost, you should never think to yourself, oh no, I must be a wali. No, that's a problem also. But you should always have hope that Allah includes you amongst them. And that's why Rasulullah taught us to make that dua. I don't know if you ever thought about it. What you say in Fajr, Allahumma hadina fi man hadayt, wa afina fi man afit, wa tawallana fi man tawallayt. What does that mean? Tawalla on the fifth part. It has 2 meanings. Tawalla can mean to turn away, but it can also mean to befriend. Wa tawallana fi man tawallayt. And befriend us amongst those whom you have befriended. Make us your wali. You make the dua all the time. Right? You're asking Allah, literally, make me a wali. So it's something that we should make dua. We should hope for, but we should never, arrogate to ourselves that, claim that for ourselves. So what happens when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you? فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ, Allah says, فَإِذَا, so when أَحْبَبْتُهُ, I have loved him, when I love him, what happens then? كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به. كنت. كان was. كنت I was. That's, you guys are doing your week. كان كانوا and then كانت. Right? Because كان كانت كنا كنت كنتم كنتي كنتن كنت. Right? كنت I was. So, but because of the إذا, we understand it as present to future tense. فإذا أحببته. So when I love him, كنت, then I am. Or then I become. سمعه. He, what do I become? So the ism of kana is I. What's the khabar? سمعه. I become his hearing. الذي يسمع به, which he hears with. الذي, which يسمع, he hears به, with it. So I become his hearing with which he hears. وبصره الذي يبصر به, and his sight الذي يبصر به, which he sees with it. I become his sight with which he sees. ويده الذي يبطش بها, and his hand التي, which, because hand is feminine, body part, التي, which يبطش بها, he grasps with it. ورجله التي يمشي بها, and his foot التي, which يمشي بها, he walks with it. Right, I'm going to say that again. فإذا أحببته, when I love him, كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به, I am his hearing with which he hears. وبصره الذي يبصر به, and his sight with which he sees. ويده التي يبطش بها, and his hand with which he grasps. ورجله التي يمشي بها, and his foot with which he walks. Is this literal? Certainly not. Well, no, Ali says, oh no, this is Allah. Right? What does it mean? I guide his sight, I guide his hearing, I guide his hand. But you can see in this whole hadith, there are things in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing the taqarrub. Allah is emphasizing the closeness to him. Man ada li waliyan. وما تقرب, again the word إلي. How many times the word إلي used here? 1, 2, 3, at least 3 times over there. إلي, indicating that close proximity. The word تقرب is also used twice here. And then the word hub is also used repeatedly, right? So, at least twice. So all of those words indicate to that qurb, closeness to Allah. So in the way Allah expresses this, it's also like intensifying that closeness. It's as if Allah is saying, he's so close to me, it's as if I am his, his hand with which he grasps, but we don't. But what we understand from that is, we never attribute any form to Allah. We understand from that his actions are guided, his sight is guided, all of those things. Right? And then Allah says, وَلَئِن سَأَلَنِي لَأُعْطِيَنَّهُ. لَئِن, وَلَئِن, and if سَأَلَنِي, he asks me, لَأُعْطِيَنَّهُ, then I will certainly give him. There's a lot of emphasis there. There's a lam at the beginning, la. The verb is actually u'ti, to give, right? And then the noon with the shadda at the end is for more emphasis, the heavy emphatic noon. The noon al-tawqid al-thaqila. لَأُعْطِيَنَّهُ, I will certainly give him. So this statement is emphasized 3 times. Why? La, that lam at the beginning of the end emphasizes the statement. Then there's another la at the beginning of the verb, لَأُعْطِيَنَّهُ, and the noon at the end. So it's a heavily emphasized sentence. If you ask me, I will definitely give. Grant him. وَلَئِنِ اسْتَعَاذَ بِي, وَلَئِن, and certainly if استعاذ, he seeks refuge, isti'adha. Right? It's on the 10th bab from the root letters Ain, Waw, Dhal. Like we say, A'udhu Billah. Ista'adha means to seek refuge. A'udhu means to take refuge. Ista'adha means to seek refuge. So, وَلَئِنِ اسْتَعَاذَ بِي. And if he is to seek protection from me, لَأُعِيذَنَّهُ. This is now the 4th bab. La, certainly, أُعِيذَنَّهُ. The verb is actually أُعِيذُ. It's on the 4th bab, right? أَعَاذَ يُعِيذُ. And then if you say I, لَأُعِيذُ. It becomes لَأُعِيذَ just because that noon forces it into that. Then I will certainly give him my protection. If he were to seek refuge in me, I will certainly give him refuge. Right, and it's also another understanding that we can have from like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, I become his hearing with which he hears, and his sight with which he sees, and his hand with which he grasps, and his foot with which he walks. You understand from that, it's as if he's so overcome with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that everything that emanates from him is like something that reminds of Allah. So there's your hadith. Any questions? You still have a question? There's the answer, right? That's why I said that. Yes. There's many words. Yes. In Arabic, there's many words for give. Wahaba yahibu means to give. A'ta yu'ti means to give. Ata yu'ti means to give. All of those words mean to give. However, they all have slightly different connotations. Like a'ta will mean to give but not expect something in return. Wahaba will mean to give in the form of gifting. Ahda will also mean to give like in the form of a gifting. The one will be a hadiyah, the one will be a hiba. All of those are different forms of giving. Ata will mean to give but with an expectation of something in return, of recompense, etc. Yeah. Okay, any questions? I had somebody online, sounded like there was an online question. I wasn't sharing my screen the whole time. You guys didn't remind me. Okay, so then I think we'll move on from there. Let's now go back to Surah An-Nur, inshallah.